Intro to me. I had a really unique upbringing. My parents, for whatever reason, just were kind of decided to be on the cutting edge of stuff. They were homeschooling when now you can homeschool now and it's fine, right? But back when my parents were homeschooling me, it was like they had to get a lawyer to convince the school board not to like force us to go to public school. Like it was that, it's like this was 30 years ago, and I have siblings that were older than me, so they started homeschooling them, 40 years ago, 45 years ago. So yeah, just had an upbringing, was raised in a small town. My mom, homeschooled kids, and my dad really just kind of worked a middle-class job, but I mean, he was super smart, and he always made enough money to take care of us. But for whatever reason, I'm the middle child. I'm the middle of 8 kids. And so I don't know if anybody here is from a big family, but if you're from a big family, you learn pretty fast that you ain't gonna get a lot of attention unless you do something either pretty cool or pretty bad.
Yeah.
And so I realized pretty quickly, like, man, if I'm gonna stand out in the middle of 8 kids, I got to do something. And for whatever reason, young in my life, 11, 12, 13, I just thought, you know what? The one thing that my friends don't have is money, is success, because we were just in a small town and it was just kind of a little place in the country. And so somehow I linked up really young that trying to be successful was what I was going to go after. And so that was a pursuit. That was kind of like the first step to being an entrepreneur, if you will. And I can go into like way more detail, Diego. You just tell me when to stop. But I mean, I'll give the high level view, and then you can dive, ask if you want to know anything else. But that was young. I can even remember sitting around a group of friends, and we were I always looked up to these friends. I always wanted to be in the cool group. Always wanted to be accepted. Always wanted, and I never really was. For whatever reason, it was always the people like, you always like want to be accepted by the people that never will. It's like a never ending battle. But for whatever reason, they were going around this circle one day, and everybody was saying one thing they wanted to accomplish. They all said one thing they wanted to accomplish in their life. And they were saying like, oh, I want to have a big family. I want to raise my kids. I want to do this. And there's nothing wrong with those things. But for whatever reason, I just thought, you know what, if I tell them I'm going to be a millionaire one day, like that'll be the thing that really impresses them. And so I got around and I was like, guys, I think I'm going to become a millionaire one day. Like that's my dream, And one of the guys, it was a pretty conservative kind of Christian environment I was raised into. So money wasn't necessarily looked at as a good thing always, and at least in that particular genre of Christianity, if you know what I mean. And one of the guy, they just kind of like scoffed. They just laughed at me. They were like, "Oh, Sam, like freaking, you're 12. Like once you're 18 and you're 20, like once you're older, you'll realize like that stuff's not important." And I just remember being like, "I will show you guys. I will show you." So I was young. I needed self-control. My mom put me in a martial arts school, and I was really blessed. I was kind of in the right place, the right time. My martial arts instructor was really burnt out, and he wanted somebody to sell the school to. And so just by happen chance, I was there and I was training hard, and he kind of pulled me aside and he said, look, I think like you could run this whole school. And it was, keep in mind, it was a small school in a small town, 2,000 people. So it wasn't, and I was like, yeah, like entrepreneurship, let me do this. And so he pulled my parents, he took them out to lunch and just said, I think your son could run this school. I'll sell it to him for $15,000. And they were like, really? And they were like, my instructor was like, yeah. And the only thing you have to do, he said this to my dad, is you have to sign a 5-year commercial lease for like, I think it was like $4,000 a month or something like that. And my dad is like the worry of worriers. But for whatever freaking reason, my parents loaned me I was 15 years old. I was like 4 days before my 16th birthday. So again, just kind of this, like I was, because I was homeschooled, I could kind of do that. And it was really a unique thing. I'm just kind of following my path in life. But my parents loaned me $15,000, and they were by no means wealthy. So like, I don't even know where they came up with $15,000 to loan me, thinking back on it. And my dad freaking signed this lease and then never showed up. I mean, other than to take classes, And so remember the first time someone gave me $15 to pay for like a headgear, like a helmet, and I took it and I put it in my pocket, and I was like, this is what this is what an entrepreneur is like, because my instructor had taught me not to pay taxes on cash. And the guy gave me cash. So it's just like, okay, here we go. And it was really cool. It's kind of an addictive feeling. So that was a cool moment. I learned so much. He hooked me up with a consultant, which was like brilliant because he taught me a system. He didn't just teach me like, oh, go and try to run a martial arts school. Like, no, I would have failed instantly. He literally hired a coach that knew a system, and it wasn't the best system, but it was a system. And so that I would attribute so much of my success to that consultant who just trained me day after day after day, and I paid him for it, and then long story short, I opened other martial arts schools. And then when I was 18 or 19, I bought a little 3-bedroom, 3-bath condo in Charlottesville, Virginia, in the right where the University of Virginia is, UVA. It's a pretty popular school in the States, at least on the East Coast. And it was set up for college living. So each bedroom had its own bath, and each bedroom had a little desk that was like built in. And I didn't think anything of it. I was just like, oh, this is cool. I'll live in one and rent out the other two. Like, I guess that's what you do. And so I did. And I honestly, it was a foreclosure. I bought it for, I want to say $70,000. And that was just from me freaking working. I mean, just skimming off the top, saving. I was always a saver. My dad thought Y2K was going to be like a big thing. So he taught us to save and bury money in the ground. It was kind of weird like that. And then, yeah, so I bought that, and then I started renting out the rooms, and that was kind of the beginning of what I thought of what we call co-living now, which is kind of an up and coming thing, right, across the United States.
And how old were you when you bought that
19,
property?
I think it was 18 or 19 when I bought that first condo.
So 19 years old and started house hacking then. By that point, you're living for free, and you bought it with a loan, or did you buy it cash?
Oh, I actually bought it cash, man.
You bought it cash?
Yeah.
Dude, you had some money back.
Like I said, it was 70 grand. I think it was actually like 60 something. It wasn't a super nice place, but it was 3 bedrooms, 3 baths.
Yeah. And then how did you get started to like the second one, the third one, and building the little empire that you have now? Because the question is, and if you can right now, what does your portfolio look like? And then we'll take it back just so that people can get an idea.
And I'm going to be super upfront. I don't like, Rachel would probably be able to tell you, she works at these houses every day. I feel like I go get them and then I just turn them over to her. So I don't like, I might be off. I think we have 22 to 23 homes. I think I think all units included, if you count like the homes, we have 8 Airbnbs. And then, so I guess that would leave like 12 or 13 co-living rentals, but all in total, I think we're at 78 units.
78 units. And commercial buildings, you own a few too, or you just rent them through the?
Yeah, we rent all of we have 6 I own 6 martial arts schools, and we rent all of the spaces we're in.
Okay, cool, cool.
With just regular like long-term commercial leases type stuff.
Okay.
$4,000 to $8,000 a month.
Cool. So how did you get to the second property and the third property when you were starting out? Because at the end of the day, you were really young too.
I was young. Yeah. I don't think I would have been able to do it without obviously like mentors, GoBundance. Although I guess GoBundance came in around when I was 22. So I don't think I would have been able to do it though, without just having a good income. I think one day I was thinking I moved to Charlotte, North Carolina, which is where I live now. And I was thinking about buying the house across the street. I was thinking about renting the house across the street, and someone just randomly mentioned, like, why don't you just buy it? And I was like, oh, like I could do, oh yeah, a loan. Oh, I could get a loan. Cause I didn't have, it was like 130 grand. At that point, I didn't have 130 grand. I just bought 2 martial arts schools so I mean, that's how I got the next one. The very next one was a loan. It was technically, I think I applied for like the first time home buyer loan, because the other one I bought in an LLC cash or whatever. So I got like 3.5% down, and my W-2s looked pretty good. I say my W-2s, I was paying myself a salary from the business, but my tax returns looked pretty good. And so they loaned me the money, and I bought the house. I was planning on living in the whole house by myself, but I'm one of 8 kids. And so literally like 2 weeks into it, I'm like, it's boring here and it's super quiet. And like, I'm a little bit scared of the dark. So like, let me get some roommates. That'll liven this place up. And so that's what I ended up doing. I just ended up renting out the rooms, and it was just easy to do. And so that was the second one. You're muted. Just
sorry, I was on mute. Felipe, do you have any questions?
Yeah, absolutely. So Sam, nice to meet you, bro. My name is Felipe. Diego's business partner and some stuff.
Cool. I've seen your face, but I didn't make all the connections. Good to meet you too, man.
No worries. So what is? I want to know what and I kind of, I don't want to say dislike this word, but it's kind of like a trigger. So like, what was your mindset during this whole time? I know that it sounds like you were just having fun, trying to figure it all out. I'm sure building wealth probably wasn't like at the forefront of your mind, or maybe it was, but can you talk about where your mind was during this? And then when did it click? You're like, wait a minute, I'm building something here.
Probably when I joined GoBundance and I realized, you know what, that's not even true. I'll tell you, my first goal, I think even before GoBundance, Diego, was, Felipe, I think I knew how much it cost me to live, and it didn't cost me a ton at that point in my life to live, but I thought if I could just get enough houses to cover that, and I'm sure, Diego, I know you teach the concept of being 100%er, right, in this community. So like,
Yeah.
I didn't have that language to use yet, but I was just like, oh, it'd be super cool if I could just get my real estate to cover my expenses and stuff. I feel like that's when it kind of started to click a little bit, Felipe. And then I realized like, oh, if I can get it to cover, then technically I wouldn't have to work, because then I would, like, my stuff would be covered. My lifestyle would be covered. Does that make sense?
Dude, 100%, because I'm really excited that you said that. Because I teach that, or I try to tell the Rat Race members that quite a bit. It's like, don't worry about becoming a millionaire, or don't worry about like these super goals. Like, just get to financial freedom first.
Yeah.
If you can get to financial freedom where your bills are paid, your living expenses are paid, there's something in your psyche that allows you to take a deep breath. Like, your brain can all of a sudden breathe, and it's not worried about my W-2. I got to get to work. Cause like I can't remember what Elon Musk said, but he said something around like 100,000 decisions are made daily. And if you're at a 9 to 5 and all of a sudden you're able to remove all of those at one time, like, can you imagine how much like your brain can now think about how to make money, how to be happy, how to like, all of a sudden it's like this freedom. What I call is like, your brain gets the ability to take a deep breath because you're not thinking about something else, right?
That's beautiful, man. Yeah, it's beautiful. And just to add to just to throw something out there too, I agree with you so much that like, I want to say that I didn't think about net worth at all. Like, until I met GoBundance, and it's kind of a tribe that measures themselves on net worth. It wasn't in. I remember filling out the application form for GoBundance. I was like, I don't know what my net worth is. Like, let me add up kind of these different things. But no, it was totally just, for me, it was that game that you're talking about, Felipe, of just like, how do I create some income? Like, how do I create income and cash flow and have my martial arts schools do well and have and skim some off the top, so that I liked, for whatever reason, I liked having a nest egg. I liked having cash, but and then the real estate was that same vibe of like, how do I create income? You know, so 100% agree with you. I think that's brilliant, man.
Yeah, I like that. And then before we keep on going with your story, what is some advice that you would give the people here that are striving for that financial independence, that might have one deal or two deals, or getting creative doing some deals, but are like striving for this financial independence goal? What would you say to them as they try to reach that first level of freedom?
And you'd say that first level is like where your passive income kind of covers your expenses, that being your first,
where you've just crossed that line.